Let's begin.
Welcome to Build an Agency, a podcast where we talk about the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, growth tactics, building businesses, and the events that affect your company. Let's jump right in. Welcome back to the podcast. We are on episode 17, and I'm here in the studio with Attilio.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
We've got a super awesome episode ahead of us.
Kind of a left turn on this episode, I think. I think normally we talk a little bit about our week and then kind of go into, whatever topics we're talking about. But I think this time we're kind of just going to drive straight into some topics. Not that nothing happened this week, but we're just going to hit them, I think we had some awesome stuff come up and it just kind of drove us to this point of putting together this podcast.
Well, I think when the subject is large enough, I think we gotta kind of neglect the weekly portion of the podcast a little bit. Like the last time we had real meaty content for the podcast, and ended up driving the time up to an hour or something. So we're just gonna drop in here. So we actually, as we were kind of making pitches to different companies for SEO sales and retainers and different things, we actually ran into a lot of misconceptions that a lot of companies had when it came to SEO, and the more we talked about it, the more we ran into it, we decided to actually confront these things in a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think it was last podcast we talked about how search engine optimization should be sort of the starting point. And there's reason to it because, there's a ton of research that comes with it. So this is kind of like almost like a part two, or like a sequel, I guess. So, did you want to start off with the first point?
Absolutely. So, the number one misconception that I think we run into is the difference between being search engine optimized and search engine optimization. And although it sounds like the exact same thing, one kind of insinuates that SEO is something that you go in and you pay a one-time fee, and a company comes in and fixes your website, and then you just don't touch it.
And you're optimized.
You're optimized. You're good to go. You're going to rank. And it's not a problem. You don't have to worry about it. It's gonna conquer. It's gonna dominate. It's gonna do exactly what you paid for that first month. That search and optimized. Search and optimization is a process. So with real good SEO companies, not even just ours, but other guys that we even look up to quite a bit, you're going to actually be paying for an SEO retainer. So you'll actually be paying a monthly fee for your SEO. So it's not just a one-time setup, and it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. You're actually paying for a team to be on retainer and to be there to adapt to things that your competition does, adapt to backlink issues, etc. So Attilio, do you want to talk a little bit about what actually goes into an SEO retainer? What exactly are people paying for when it's a monthly thing?
So quick clarification. The word SEO, right, is search engine optimization, right? So it's meant to be progressive. I know that you touched on it, but it's not SEO search engine optimized, right? It's always been search engine optimization. It's always meant to be progressive because it has to be a scientific process, sure, right? When you're paying for these monthly retainers, or when you're paying for these this monthly search engine optimization, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for success on multiple fronts, because when you're building authority to your website, like backlinks, those fall off after a certain time, especially if they're spammy backlinks. They'll fall off. And search engine algorithms change all the time, literally daily. So, you need to keep up. You need to always be sort of on the cutting edge of what's going on. You need to understand what works, what doesn't work, what's considered black hat, which means that you're doing things against the webmaster guidelines, the Google webmaster guidelines, which if you don't know what those are, I'd suggest you just look them up really quick. And so you have to make sure that you're staying in the clear, staying in the white hat zone instead of the black hat zone, right? Not to mention, your competition wants those positions too. Don't think that you're the only person on earth who's doing search engine optimization and all you have to do is a one-time little one-off kind of thing, and then all of a sudden you're winning. because it doesn't work that way. Search engine optimization as a field is a $64 billion industry. Like literally $64 billion this year. So, I mean, you can imagine everyone and their mom is doing search engine optimization at this point. And if you're not, you're severely missing out. It's a great opportunity. But those are really the main points for having something monthly. You know, you got to just keep up with the stuff because there's updates all the time. You have to beat your competition because they're trying to beat you. And it's just frankly where the attention is. And if you're not playing their game the right way, then you're losing. And there's too much attention there to lose.
Yep.
So
it pays to be adaptive.
Yeah.
It really does.
It really does. I mean, every one-off service that I've seen has always worked for 2 months, 3 months, and then it just drops back down. And at that point, you know, you're not steadily moving up. You just jumped up for a couple minutes and then you drop back down. Like,
because no one can anticipate what the algorithm's going to do, because Google doesn't exactly broadcast what they're looking for in their searches. It comes down to SEOs trying to figure out and to scientifically test what's actually affecting rankings and what's not.
Yeah.
And they can't anticipate what your competition is going to do, you know, like 3 months down the line. It's just not possible. So
it's a test. It's a science. Yeah. It's a procedure. You know, it's science. It's actually science.
Yeah.
As a former scientist, I'm telling you, it's actually science.
Yeah, for sure.
So, next point is the next misconception, big misconception.
SEO versus.
Yeah. So people are pitting search engine optimization kind of against like content marketing, or people are pitting it against like social media.
Yeah.
And they're asking, you know, well, which one should I do? Which one do I need to do? What's the best way to do them all? To which I say you should be doing them all. Like Travis, you wrote an awesome piece. When was it? Last week, 2 weeks ago? About content and SEO.
A lot of people are actually searching for SEO versus content marketing. We looked through a bunch of like keywords and found that a ton of people search for that every month. And so, I don't know. I just found it interesting, and I think people have got like really pure intentions with it. I mean, you want to do what's best for your business. Like you're trying to figure out what marketing services can I afford, and which one am I get like the best bang for my buck. And so, people actually have been writing blogs pitting SEO up against social media. So I've seen SEO versus social media blogs, and I've seen SEO versus advertisement blogs, and SEO versus content blogs. And I just don't understand it, because all three of those things heavily affect your SEO. Like,
and they all work together.
It's all a system, you know. Like I almost like even consider it. It's almost kind of like an organism a little bit. You know what I mean? Like what you're doing on social is going to affect your SEO, and what you do with your ads is going to affect your SEO. And what you do with your content is going to affect your SEO. It's all just, it works together so well.
Which is why it's great to start with SEO.
Yeah.
Back to our other podcast, you know.
SEO is a great thing because, and this is why I really love doing inbound marketing retainers, to where we're focusing on the full funnel, is because we're not just getting your website ready to go so Google can rank it and knows what your website's about, but we continue to work on your social media campaigns, your ad campaigns, and like the kind of content you're putting out, and that goes directly back into our initial efforts into your SEO.
Yeah, it's a huge circle.
Good. So SEO should never be pit against any other kind of online marketing services. Like, it needs to be understood how synonymous these different services are.
Yeah. The reality is everyone is using search engines. So there's just, you know, the potential is on search engines. So you just need to be there, and it just needs to be something you need to have presence on.
Yeah.
So SEO is sort of like a non-compromising thing. Like you just kind of, if you want to be visible, if you want attention, you need to be in that space, in the search engine space. Then the other things, you know, stem off of it. And it's not that it stems off of it. It's that they kind of branch together, I guess.
Sure.
That's sort of a better method.
And for smaller companies that might not be able to afford like a full inbound marketing retainer, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. This will be interesting, but yeah, I feel like if you're a smaller company and you don't feel like you can afford an inbound retainer where an agency comes in and deals with your SEO, your ad campaigns, or all your, you know, your content, your social media, like everything, I would actually say you should pay for an SEO retainer and then figure out what your audience wants to do on social, because I do feel like social media content and ads are far less complicated and technical than SEO is. And so if I were in a position where I had to pick one, I would say go SEO, but do not even think about neglecting your social ads and content, and realize you need to take that on yourself so that you get the best, SEO possible.
I think I disagree with you.
Okay. So you
a little bit.
So you'd rather someone run their own SEO and have us do their social? Or?
No. I think, and I love SEO, but I think that it's almost auxiliary, or it's almost, if you're a small business and you can't afford a retainer, this means you're not making a lot of money, like with margins or anything.
They have to pick one service.
Yeah, if you have to pick one, I think I would start with doing some kind of pay to play, or some kind of like you can't expect to do a low return on investment service or a long-term return on investment service like SEO up front. I feel like you psychologically psych yourself out and think that you're not getting returns, even though it's something that like takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So search engine optimization, depending on what you're selling, could take some time before it really, really, really blossoms.
Sure.
As opposed to something like pay-per-click advertisement, where you're paying a set amount, like you don't always hit your budget or whatever. Every time someone clicks, you know that they clicked, you paid exactly for that click, and then whether they convert or not is up to the system.
Sure.
And so it's much lower return on investment, but it has kind of a quicker return on investment, if that makes sense. So like monetarily, you're spending more and getting out less, but it's happening faster. So you'll probably see a higher return. You'll probably see a higher revenue cap quicker with something like ads. And then as you build that up, as you have the revenue cap, and as things sort of get a little more efficient, then you go for the long term. I think that's what I would do.
I'm just thinking like as a business owner, and you and I both had to do this. Like we have to wear lots of hats.
Yeah.
And so what I'm thinking is all these services, which one's going to have the highest learning curve, and to have the agency take that off your plate, which I think would SEO.
Probably SEO, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So like I feel like I can learn social media ads and content far quicker than I can actually learn SEO. And so that's what I'm thinking is like as a small business owner wearing a lot of hats. Which was the hardest one to wear. Give that to the professionals, but you have to go hard in the paint on your social ads and content. So, yeah, honestly, if you can pay an agency to do all of them, it's far better. I mean,
especially SEO and like social and content, like those three. Like, there's a lot of other things in an inbound retainer or in like a marketing retainer that really could show themselves, but those three especially.
Yeah.
SEO, social, and content, like. Those are like the three musketeers. Like you just want them all together. You want them paired to just boost.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't skimp on it. You pay what you pay in is usually what you get out. So
for sure,
especially if you find a good agency.
I think of the three musketeers, I think the one that you'd want to focus on the most would be content. We have this saying in the online marketing community that content is king, and that's because your ads and your social media and those campaigns will most likely revolve around the content you are putting out and the content that your audience is wanting to see. So definitely don't neglect content. If you have good content, I think your ads and your social will do really well if they're targeted right. So
especially since it can be pretty cheap. Like if you're writing it yourself, like imagine you're a small private lawyer or something, like you own your own like little law firm or something,
Sure.
It doesn't take too long to put together some content, especially if you're just sitting back waiting for appointments or waiting for customers to come in. You can always be doing something as a business owner, as a manager.
Yeah,
pick up the extra weight. You're there anyway. You may as well be writing something or creating something.
Absolutely.
That'll help you get your word out more.
So. Yeah. So let's pull it back to SEO. So the cost of safe SEO.
Third misconception.
Yep. Go for it.
Okay. So, and I actually really like this point because it sort of justifies paying more, so it kind of works in our favor. uh, I mean, I'm explaining; they know.
Yeah, it's all good.
We're keeping everyone in the light here. So, what is not safe SEO? Right. That's the first thing that we should address, I guess, or unsafe SEO, whatever the word is. Unsafe SEO is when you're, paying or getting something very spammy or against the Google Webmaster Guidelines. It's usually shortcut techniques. It's usually
like black hat, gray hat.
Definitely black hat, which is against the Webmaster Guidelines. So they're usually automated. They're usually spammy. They're usually quick, one-off techniques. And there's a reason why they cost less, because they're usually automated. They're usually spammy. They're usually against the Webmaster Guidelines, which means that they're usually spammy or automated. So, or you're getting like links from countries that have, known problems or known DDoS attacks attached to them. So there's a lot that goes into it, but at the end of the day, you end up being able to pay a lot less, and the people who are performing those tasks for you can charge a lot less because a lot of it's automated, right? A lot of it's just a system that they plug you in, you run through the system, your sites run through the system, and then you just, boom, have SEO, right? And that SEO generally is caught by Google, and then you're dropped or penalized, or sometimes they'll take your site off of their indexing, and then you'll never show up there again unless you do some like Google gymnastics for them. So
you'll save up front, but it can cost you way more money in the long run.
What's going to happen is you're going to pay some dude who's going to put you in at $100 through his system, and that's it. Like it's like, yeah, you'll save some money. Instead of paying $500 a month, you'll pay $100 one time, and then at the end of the day, you ended up wasting that money and probably getting penalized for it.
And all the money you left on the table is still on the table.
Yeah, like black hat techniques go away very quick. Like Google there's reasons why they update things, because people are sneaky and they try to find ways around the system.
Yep.
Right? So Google updates its algorithms daily, like we said before. And the stuff that you're like, oh, I have the leg up, I have the method that nobody knows yet, and it's just like $100 and you just instantly get ranked. It's like, it's going to be shut down, you're going to be shut down, you're going to be dropped, you're going to waste that money. So
black hat guys always confuse me. Like I've talked to a few dudes who are into black hat SEO, and they're like, yeah, Google just never figures this out. And I'm like, do you guys not think Google has dudes in the black hat community working for them? Like,
yeah, they're literally like $1 billion company. They have the smartest coders. Like, it's only a matter of time before they're
watching for your stupid techniques that you're doing, and then they're going to update it and change it, and it's not going to work anymore. And so it pays really to get a safe SEO company, because again, like when you've got a website that's performing well on Google and you're getting a lot more traffic, like you have the potential to make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And so your SEO could pay for itself if it's done correctly.
Which it should.
Yeah.
SEO is a return on investment.
Yeah, it's a return on investment thing. And so you can pay this one-time deal, get your $100. It may or may not work, or it could penalize you, and then you've lost far more than $100, and then you'll be wishing that you had paid for the real retainer.
Yeah, like you're just going to be backtracking. I mean, and this is yes, our services are based in the U.S. Yes, we do have to charge more than India.
Yeah.
But India usually also uses like black hat techniques because they can get away with it.
You just don't know what you're going to get. Like,
yeah,
there could be some good SEO companies in India. We're not saying that you have to go with an American company.
I haven't seen one yet.
Agreed. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but we typically see a lot of really shady things coming out of foreign countries
and it's
for
solely
SEO.
because you think you're getting a solid deal on an SEO doing the work, a safe work for you, but the truth is that they're just running you through a system, and they're getting huge margins. They're getting huge margins because they're charging you as if it's a a low cost employee, but it's not really a low cost employee. It's usually the system anyway.
And usually and this is honestly with American companies. We've seen this with American companies.
Yeah, American companies do it too.
When the price of SEO is really, really, really cheap, like probably like far cheaper than like us or companies like Straight North, WebFX, other reputable SEO agencies. When it's a lot cheaper, you have to kind of question what you're getting, because you got to remember, a business has to pay for an employee to sit there and monitor your SEO, your competitors, the algorithm, your backlinks, all these different things. Like they have to pay for that. So I mean, it's not a cheap service, and it's not a cheap thing to provide or to pay for. Like the expense is pretty high to provide the service in general. And so when you see that the price is really, really low, that could be an indicator. I mean, it's one of those, you really do get what you pay for, you know.
So what is the cost? So I was reading through an article, and they use the sort of benchmark number as $700 a month.
Okay.
And I mean, depending on how large your site is, depending on what market position you're at, how competitive your market is, you know, there's tons of variables. You could pay more or less. Generally, our services are cheaper than that. Like specifically using us as a reference, we're actually cheaper than that. And we generally, our small business prices are cheaper than that. Our mid-sized business prices are not cheaper than that. Our mid-sized prices are spot on with, I guess, our industry prices. They might actually be a little more expensive than some of our industry friends. Actually, they're probably more expensive, but
yeah,
just a little bit, not too much. We're still very competitive, but just as an idea, the benchmark for a small business owner to pay for SEO is about $700 a month. And you know, if you're getting the attention in the search engine space for it, and it's worth it, you know, you'll see the returns. That $700 is going to flip into 14 or 36.
It'll help you with online sales, but it'll also help you get more people into your brick and mortar. So I mean, it's good for no matter what kind of sales you're trying to make. It's going to be helpful.
Or any attention, even nonprofits. Yeah,
if you're wanting whatever. Like website sales, if you're wanting more phone calls, if you're wanting more like brick and mortar, like, you know, traffic into your physical business, it's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go wrong. So the next misconception number 4, Attilio, tell us the difference between inorganic and organic traffic.
Okay. So inorganic traffic, that's inorganic, so not organic traffic, is the traffic that you get from advertisements. Okay, so inorganic results are advertisements on the search page. If you go to Google right now and you search anything, I love using something like buy dog toys or something like that. I use the example a lot. If you go to buy dog toys, what's going to happen is you're going to see sponsored display ads, you're going to see search ads, and you're going to see organic results. And organic results, or organic traffic, is the traffic through the normal listings, the ones that aren't advertised for. So the first listed item that's not an advertisement is the first organic ranked item on the search engine page. Yeah. On the search engine ranking page. So the huge difference, the number one difference is that only about 8% of people, it's 5 to 8% of people will click on your ads or your sponsored section, which means that 92%
scroll past the ads.
So that's huge, right? You can't just get away with doing ads, especially if you can rank in your space and get some huge traffic through that. Position 1 of organic traffic gets 35% of the clicks. 35. Position 2 gets about 25. So huge jumps, right? This is it's an exponential looking curve, and that's a huge, percent of traffic. That's a huge, misconception that people are having, that they think that, oh, you know what, I don't have to rank, I'll just throw my ads up. It's like, yeah, it can help you cover your organic blind spots,
Yeah.
but
I think
just know you're not getting a ton of traffic through there. You're getting a trickle. You're getting less than 10% of the people that are actually searching through there.
Yeah.
Less than 10%. And that's assuming that you're winning the auction to display yourself up there. If you're winning the auction to display yourself, then you get displayed. And then you get presented to only, you get presented to the people, but only 10% of people, less than 10% of the people will be clicking on you.
Do you want to explain real quick, like auctions for advertisement, so they can understand a little bit about why those aren't as effective?
Doesn't touch too much on SEO misconceptions, but we can touch it, I guess. What would you want me to touch, or what do you want?
Like
the two-factor auction system.
Yeah, the two-factor auction system.
So the two-factor auction system, it awards you. It's a system out of 30 points. Okay, AdWords does it out of 30 points. 10 points are based on how much you are like monetarily bidding. So the bid price, right? And 20 points are based on the ad relevancy. So how relevant the ad is, where the ad is going, sort of the score for the ad is what they call it. It's ad quality score. And that accounts for about 20 points out of these 30. So they prioritize quality ads, and then they prioritize how much you're actually bidding. And you'll only ever pay as much, like just over the second bid, right? So if you're first, you'll just pay just enough to beat the second one. So was that clear enough? Was that clear?
Yeah, I was just asking because I want people to really understand that just because you're paying for ads doesn't always mean it's going to show up in front. Like it needs to be supplemental, and it doesn't need to be the main thing. Because most people are clicking on the organic stuff, and you shouldn't just throw your hands up in the air and go, well, screw it, I'm just going to do ads, because that, like, not only are far fewer people clicking on the ads to begin with, but on top of that, you also have to be the top dog ad in that space and the most relevant.
If you're fighting Walmart ads, if you're fighting PetSmart ads, it's going to be an uphill battle. It's not going to be a layup for you.
So organic traffic really, really matters, and that's why I wanted to touch on that,
because you can win granularly.
Yeah, it's much better. Inorganic traffic, in my opinion, is an extremely. Given I love Facebook ads, but like inorganic traffic in general is typically a pretty big gamble.
Yeah, especially in the search space. So
yeah.
Final misconception?
Site errors on pitch. Okay.
And God, oh man, and it happens for every one of our clients too. Everyone who has a website will be approached by someone in our industry saying that you have site errors or there is something going wrong with your website because they want to talk to you about SEO.
Yep.
So I want all of you guys, anyone who has a website, to go to Google Search Console, verify your website on Google Search Console. It's very easy. All you have to do is search for Google Search Console, sign in, go in there, verify your website. There's like 3 different methods. Figure it out. Okay, just Google it really quick. You can see any of your site errors. You can see tons of information through there. And just because you have site errors doesn't mean that you're drowning, that you're the Titanic, okay? It doesn't mean that you're sinking or anything. So if you can get rid of 90% of your site errors, 99% of your site errors, you're coasting. It's when you start having tons of site errors and Google's not able to index you that there's a problem. So stop listening to the people in our industry that just spam the hell out of you with their freaking, we ran a site audit, we saw that you have errors, we have this, that, and the other, we noticed that it's like, chill out. Like, I know it's a competitive industry, but there's got to be a better way in than just saying that people have site errors. And like, frankly, it's super annoying. I mean, our clients have come to us, and they'll all come to us at least once just saying, hey, I got approached by this. Do you mind checking it? They're a little nervous. They're a little anxious, especially the new ones. We had one of our favorite clients. They came to us twice about it, and we just showed them the info, showed them what's going on, showed them increased rankings, showed them decrease in site errors, showed them that we're doing everything in a kosher method. But please be aware that you can check your errors. Please be aware that you can see what's going on. This doesn't have to be like a behind closed doors thing. You don't have to be presented this information from some third party source. You have the information in front of you. So please take advantage of it. And this way, the next time that some of those annoying people hit you up, you can just tell them, I know exactly how many site errors I have. I know all my errors. Goodbye. You can tell them exactly. You know exactly what's going on. You and your webmaster know what's going on. It's that simple.
And just as a testament to how much these guys don't know what they're talking about, they hit us up all the time. About it. They didn't even research that we're an SEO company.
They usually just go on blast, and it's it's really annoying. It's really annoying. There's a lot of people in our industry that do it, and I'm calling all of you out right now. I hate all of you. I just want to let you know.
I remember one time.
I understand you're hustling. Right?
Someone called the Hone Business Line, and Attilio was talking to this dude for 10 minutes about our site areas and our problems. The guy was finally like, "Oh, by the way, what industry are you guys in?" And Attilio was like, we're an SEO company. The guy was like a deer in the headlights. It was pretty funny.
It's just just be aware. You can see them, okay, and don't think that oh my god, I have an error. Oh my god, what's happening? Is Google gonna do something bad? It's
most sites have errors. Even good sites have errors.
Absolutely.
The goal is to decrease them as much as possible. It's really not a normal thing to have a perfect error-free website. It doesn't really happen. I'm sure we've got some errors, and we're ranking nationally for things, and we've got a few errors on our website.
Yeah, I'm sure if we could see Amazon's site, I'm sure if we could see I bet even Google has 404s or something.
An SEO company that's trying to pitch to you that's worth their salt. Their selling point is not going to be your site errors. They've got much more intelligent benchmarks like your rankings, your organic traffic, things like that need to improve. So,
and it may be a legit cause. You may have actually a lot of site errors.
You have a ton of site errors, but check your own site errors and kind of see where you are. How many site errors would you say is too many? So say you were qualifying, a business and you're looking through their errors. How many errors would a website have to have for it to be something that you actually bring up?
So I don't look at how many because it kind of depends on how big the site is.
Okay.
I look at if the site errors are increasing.
All right.
That's what I look at. So one of our really big clients, when we first talked to them, they had a ton of site errors and they kept increasing. And they were working with another SEO company. And so we knew that they were kind of doing something funky, right?
Yeah.
And so we brought it up to them, and that was actually one of our good selling points.
Mm-hmm.
It was that, hey, listen, yeah, you have some errors, but it's worrisome that they keep increasing. It's worrisome that they keep growing. So, that's a problem. And they had, I don't know, probably 1,200 or 1,700 errors. And their site's pretty big. It's a big real estate site. So... and then in comparison, we're working with another website right now that's just massive. They have 4,900 errors or 4,000 errors, but their errors aren't going up. We know exactly what the problem is. It's a lot of missing pages from inventory being taken down. So we know what the problem is and we know how to solve it. So we're just going about solving it. It's not that it's necessarily a problem for search engines. It might be a crawlability issue. So for search engines to crawl over you, it might hurt the crawlability. But it's almost more of a UX thing. It's almost more of a user experience thing because what's happening is there's people who are visiting these pages. They're seeing that there's no inventory and they're getting a website error. So it's almost more of a UX thing. It's less of an SEO thing, which they kind of go hand in hand, But... yeah, so 4,000 errors, 1,700 errors, there's not really a number per se.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I think we have like 64 errors on our site, like our site. But the thing is that, you know, it used to be 300. We dropped it down to 64. We've distilled it to these, you know, very minimum errors. Same with the website that had 1,200 errors. You know, we've distilled it down to like 40 errors. And then these other guys, we dropped all of their 404 errors, and now we're just working on their 410 errors. So we're dropping all their 4,000 or their 4,000 number down. So it's just about knowing that you have them, knowing that they're going down rather than up, and knowing that and knowing whether or not they affect your search engine rankings. Because some errors do not even affect your search engine rankings. They just affect user experience, or they affect maybe some crawlability, which hurts SEO a little bit, but that's really it.
Sure.
Really it.
I think sometime maybe in a future podcast we should like go deep into like the different kinds of errors.
Okay.
Because that might be an interesting thing. Like if a company is like, you've got a bunch of errors on your website, you can go through and actually see like what is wrong with the site and see if it even has anything to do with your rankings.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think the number one thing that all of you who are listening to this right now could be doing is just signing up and verifying your site through the Google Search Console.
Well, actually, is there a certain error that they should look for that should be a cause of concern? Like,
usually it's like 404 errors that will show up like priority number 1, but there are some like really big errors, like really deep-seated server errors, or really big deep-seated like scraping errors that may come up. Okay, but it's usually not.
We'll save that for another episode. We'll do another episode probably in the near future, and we'll try and touch on some of the really bad errors you could be checking for to make sure, you know, not all errors are created equal.
They're absolutely not.
And so if someone, you know, is claiming you have errors and you need to look at your errors and see what you have, and we'll give you the resources to determine. Maybe it could be like a blog post, or
actually
that'd probably be a good blog post. Actually, we'll do a blog post in Hone You very soon, probably the next week or two, talking about different kinds of site errors, and
then maybe we'll talk about it on the podcast too.
Yeah, we'll figure out something.
Double tap it.
We'll figure out something for you guys. But hey, thank you so much for listening to us today. We always have a blast doing this.
Yeah.
The audience is growing all the time, and we have a really good time, like thinking about what to do with this podcast throughout the week, or just running into a problem and going, we're talking about this week.
Yeah. So, share us with some of your friends. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. See you next week.
Peace.